Well, after nearly 400 years, Barbados has ditched the British monarchy and become the world's newest republic.
I, Sandra Prunella Mason, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Barbados according to law. So help me God.
Sandra Mason, who was the Governor General, now sworn in as Barbados' first president. That was before dawn this morning. The island nation will remain a member of the Commonwealth. Canada's head of state, still the Queen. How do Canadians feel about that? And is there any appetite for change? Angus Reid Institute President Shachi Kurl surveyed Canadians. She's in Vancouver. Hi, Shachi.
Hi, David.
Okay, so I was looking at these numbers, and I will say I am not surprised, but it is a big shift. I'm not surprised at the sentiment, but it is a big shift in numbers. Take us through it.
So what we are seeing now is, to your point, a shift even as recently as in the last 5 years, where the number of Canadians saying, look, it's not just about the Queen, but when we envision in generations to come, in 50, 75, 100 years, do we think Canada should still be a constitutional monarchy? You know, in 2016, David, that number reflected more or less an even divide between Canadians, those who said, yes, it should stay that way in the long term, and those who said no. Now, in 2021, we're seeing a 2-to-1 margin of Canadians who are saying, I think long term, we're done with the monarchy, versus those who say keep it. So back in 2016, 42% of Canadians said keep the monarchy long term. Today, that number is down to 25%, 1 in 4.
Yeah, that is a significant shift when you look at it. And, you know, when I go back to 2016, only 38% said Canada should cut ties. What do you think has been the shift? What's contributed to that, changing Canada in some ways?
I think it's a number of different issues and factors that are swirling. So some of it is the family itself, the House of Windsor, and all of the related baggage that comes with it. So 5 years ago, I don't think we're into fully 5 seasons of The Crown yet, but you know, people have had a new look at what the royals are about. Certainly, Megxit or Sussexit, the exit of Harry and Meghan from the family, the ongoing allegations and cloud that Prince Andrew is under. None of this, from a PR standpoint, has been fantastic for the royal family. Plus demographics, as you said, David. So more and more, we are seeing the face of Canada changing. 50, 40, 60 years ago, there were a really significant number of Canadians who could claim, you know, first generation lineage to Great Britain, to England, to Scotland, to Northern Ireland. And so, well, that's a slightly
different story, but yes, Ireland.
Yeah, slightly different story. But the issue being there was sort of that level of connection, or you had immigrants coming as British subjects in the 70s and the 60s from Commonwealth countries. So there was that sense of cohesion and sense of connection to the Crown. Today, we've got more and more Canadians for whom that level of personal relevance is dropping, and dropping significantly, or just wasn't really there to begin with. Yeah. So not great PR for the family, changing demographics, and interestingly, I think the conversation around colonization, what we've been seeing around reconciliation, has a lot of people asking questions really about, when we talk about Crown Indigenous relations, where was the Crown in a lot of this? So these things, I think, have been driving it.
Yeah, and I look at your numbers and how many Indigenous people in Canada are increasingly of the view that they would like to unload the monarchy. And as you note, not as much support for that. And yet, there is support still for the Queen herself.
There is an absolute line that Canadians, I think, draw between how they feel about Her Majesty, who, you know, she's been our monarch for 70 years. She's the only monarch most of us have known in our lifetimes. And the sense that, yes, she is somebody who personally has dedicated her life to public service. I think as she gets older, people have just a greater amount of affection for her. So just over half say that they would support the continuance of Queen as the Queen of Canada, as monarch, and they're okay with monarchy as long as she's alive. But that number drops to 34% when Canadians are asked specifically about her successor, who right now is Crown Prince Prince Charles. So these are the issues at stake. It is very much personality driven, and you even see that when we ask about, okay, what does a new era look like after the Queen dies, if she passes away? She's 95 years old. That's not beyond the realm of possibility. Even those who say that they don't support long-term monarchy in this country, they still say, look, we'd feel really sad about it. So it's very much now tied to an affection for Queen Elizabeth.
Now, it is monstrously complex from a constitutional perspective, opening that can. But let's just put that aside for a moment and imagine that Canada were to sever ties with the monarchy. What do people think this place should look like?
There isn't a ton of consensus on that. So some people say it should be like we saw in Barbados' situation, where the Governor General becomes the head of state, just with no ties to the crown. You've got those who say actually it should be the Prime Minister who becomes head of state. There are those who say there shouldn't be a head of state at all. So you don't have a tremendous amount of agreement, in part, I think, because of the muddiness of changing the system. And, David, we've asked in the past, do you think you really would want to wade into a constitutional do-over around removing the crown if that's what it took? And certainly we know that today in 2021, Canadians don't have a tremendous amount of appetite to really go there, so to speak. But we can't know what things are going to look like in 2 or 3 generations from now, when, again, those values of younger Canadians and people coming from other parts of the world and being Canadian sort of change and shift those values, and will they want to go there and make a change? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but on the horizon, it could be a possibility.
All right, Shachi, thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.